I finally pulled the trigger on a new Apple Watch. Both my partner and I got new Apple Watch SEs last week, and we were both coming from Series 1. So this was quite the upgrade for us. It was getting to the point where things were quite bleak, to be honest. Our old watches were super slow and we couldn't get software updates anymore. And I wanted to try out Apple Fitness Plus as well, but you need at least a Series 3 to even participate. So we finally decided that it was time to upgrade. Back in 2015, I had the original Apple Watch, now referred to as the Series 0. Then I upgraded to the Series 1, which was actually released alongside the Series 2. It was essentially the same as the original watch, except it has the S2 system on a chip, the same as the Series 2 watch. But essentially, I've had the Series 1 for several years at this point, and it's been great. It's really been great. Really, my biggest use cases were simply triaging notifications, as well as running exercise routines. Really, from the very beginning, it was a little too slow to use a lot of apps with it. Even brand new, you could tell that the first couple generations of Apple Watch were underpowered. Loading an app usually takes 10 to 15 seconds, which I just don't have the patience for. And so I typically didn't do that. There's something really cool though about upgrading to a product several generations newer than the one you had before. A year-over-year upgrade is often iterative, but a multi-year upgrade is transformational. I've been blown away by just how great this watch is so far. But why didn't I get the Series 6? Well, as you know, I am quite frugal, and so that's a big reason for it. But the real answer is it's just not worth it. The Apple Watch Series 6 compared to the SE is a lot of hype, in my opinion. It's all bark and very little bite, if you will, and let me tell you why. Apple Watch Series 6 was announced on September 15th. It's their most colorful lineup ever, with a bunch of new colors. And with Apple Watch Series 6 came a new ability to measure blood oxygen right on your wrist. It shines red and infrared light onto your wrist, which can tell how much oxygen is in your blood. It can measure it in just 15 seconds. And it also does background measurements while you sleep. Blood oxygen is a key measurement for your health, and it's an indication of how well your respiratory and cardiac health is working. They also introduced the S6 system on a chip, which is up to 20% faster than the S5. And they introduced an always-on display, which means you don't necessarily need to raise your wrist to wake the display if you want to see some quick information. They announced an always-on altimeter as well to provide continuous elevation measurements throughout the day, which is great for hiking, running, and other activities. Then they announced Apple Watch SE. Now, the Apple Watch SE uses the same large display as the Series 6, which obviously is a huge step up from Series 3, or the Series 1, which I came from. I went from a 42mm display to a 44mm display, which doesn't sound crazy, but the bigger viewing area does make a difference. Apple Watch SE uses the S5 chip, which is 2 times faster than the Apple Watch Series 3. It's the same chip they put into the Series 5 watch from the previous year. Admittedly, it's 20% slower than the S6 though. Apple Watch uses the same accelerometer, gyroscope, compass, and altimeter as the Series 6. Like the Series 6, it also supports fall detection, which has made a life-saving difference for a lot of people out there. Here's what an unboxing looks like of a modern-day Apple Watch. All right, let's do a quick unboxing here. We got 2 Apple Watch SEs, one for myself and one for my partner. We're not going to open up my partner's watch here, but I wanted to just mention we got it. She got the SE 40mm. It's the silver aluminum case with the saddle brown modern buckle. It looked really great in the pictures, so we'll see what it looks like when she opens that up. I'm sure she's very excited about that. We'll put it over here for now. And then of course my watch, what I ended up getting was the SE 44mm silver aluminum case with the charcoal sport loop. And so we're gonna see what that looks like as well here. Very nice. Lovely packaging. This is great, by the way, because what this allows Apple to do is package the band separately from the watch itself, so you can customize this online, but it doesn't have to be a custom order that you have to wait for an online order to get it shipped to your house. You can actually still go and pick this up at the Apple Store, which is exactly what we did. We ended up picking this up just the next day at the Apple Store. And so that's really convenient, and really glad that they do it that way. Right, so we got some documentation here. Good stuff. And we've also got our charging cable, as well as the charging brick here. Very nice. And of course, we've got the Apple Watch. And this is amazing, right? When you think about the Apple Watch, it's so small, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Once you put the band on, the actual watch seems a lot bigger, but if you really think about it, everything that makes the Apple Watch truly the Apple Watch is all right here in this little tiny device right there. So very cool. And of course, let's go ahead and open this up. The band. Got some instructions on how to do this. But essentially, kind of got it taped in here. But that is it, so toss that. Got it on there correctly. So there you have it. Oops, there you have it. So let's take a quick peek again at the key differences between the models of Apple Watch that Apple currently sells. Apple Watch Series 3 is actually still available. It's basically the cheapest brand new Apple Watch that you can buy. In fact, it goes for $259 for the 38mm version and $299 for the 42mm version. You can't get a cellular version of the Series 3 actually, and so that's important to note as well. It's got the S3 chip, which was great in 2017 when it was released, but now it's the slowest model by a long shot. It's also got the smaller display, 312 by 390, and like the Apple Watch SE, it does have heart rate monitoring and warnings for high heart rate or low heart rate, as well as irregular rhythm. But it lacks international emergency calling, fall detection, and noise monitoring that the SE and the Series 6 offer. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got the Series 6, which offers some features no other model can, such as the S6 chip, which is the fastest chip by far, and about 20% faster than the S5. The display is significantly larger at 368 by 448. It can do blood oxygen monitoring as well as the electrocardiogram. Not listed here, but still a differentiator is the always-on display. Then you've got the Apple Watch SE in the middle here, the sweet spot, if you will. It's got the S5 chip, which is almost as fast as the Series 6, and it's got the same size display as the Series 6. That's a big differentiator from the Series 3. It's got the same safety features as the Series 6, but it can't do the ECG or blood oxygen monitoring. What's on the screen here are the main differences, and you can see the starting prices along the left there as well. These are just starting prices and they do vary from there, of course. But to me, you look from the Series 3 to the SE, it's a $110 difference. That's easily worth it in my opinion for the way faster chip, which you will definitely notice the difference. I wager that if you're using a Series 3 in 2021, it's going to feel slow at this point. You've got the significantly larger display, which again is so nice to have, more readability, more information, and a larger touch surface as well. And you get the advanced safety features. Now, look between the SE and the Series 6. It's a $160 difference at minimum. Really, what you're getting here is a slightly faster chip and the ECG and blood oxygen. I personally think for the average person, it's just not worth the price difference. I'm sure by now you've watched a ton of other reviews that have stated, hey, you might as well just get the Series 6 because it's only $100 and some more or whatnot. But I'm here to tell you not to buy into the hype. We don't have to go all in on consumerism all the time. Sometimes it's okay to just look at what is the actual value for money here. Now, for some people, the ECG and the blood oxygen are absolutely worth the extra money. I think if you've got a heart condition or a suspected one, basically if you have any reason to suspect there might be a problem with your cardiovascular health, I think it's incredibly cool to be able to get a watch with these advanced features. It's great that Apple is getting so much health technology packed into such a small and consumer-centric device. But again, I don't think the average person out there is going to get a ton of benefit from these features other than, maybe using them once or twice or a few times and being like, cool. Then there's the always on display in the Series 6, and this has been a highly anticipated feature because you don't have to raise your wrist to see the display. I get that for sure. And that's one of the pitfalls of just using an Apple Watch over, let's say, a traditional watch. If you've got a standard watch, you can just glance down at your wrist, and even at a weird angle, you can usually pick up the time. So listen, I agree that it's a cool feature, but it's just not a game-changing one. Even with a traditional watch, 90% of the time that you want to check the time, you are raising your wrist to do so. It's not a huge game changer to not have to raise your wrist because normally you're going to raise your wrist anyways. So is it nice to have? Yes. Is it necessary and worth $160? Not in my opinion. So that's my verdict. I'm super pumped to have my 44mm Apple Watch SE silver aluminum with the charcoal sport loop. Very pleased with it so far. And if you get an Apple Watch SE, I bet you'll be very happy with it too. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, click that like button so that more people can find it. And don't forget to subscribe to Technology Paul. I post new videos every single Friday. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.